Thank you for listening to my session today. Today, my session it's online, so I use it to be to present in-person session. But today, I will. It's a virtual event. So today, I will talk how to build Copilot agents for SharePoint and document library and SharePoint embedded container with Copilot Studio. And in this session, I will deep in detail what is it SharePoint embedded because it's something new, and I will show you how you can develop, you can configure or develop your Copilot agents with Copilot Studio and use this container as a knowledge for your agent. So, uh, okay, let's go. And before I start my session, let's thank our sponsor because it's a community event, it's a free event, and it's a lot of work behind the scene. The sponsor, the moderator, they are not paid, and the organizer, they are not paid. If you have time, let's check their website, what they are doing, what are their products. It's very important to have sponsor for this community event. And what about me? My name is Jamel Abed. I'm MVP on Microsoft 365 development and SharePoint, and I'm freelance Microsoft 365 consultant. And I have been working on SharePoint since the year 2007. As you can see, I have many flags. So I work in France now, and I live in Belgium. And I was born in Tunisia, and I'm moving to Dubai. So I have one customer in Dubai, and I'm founder of three companies, one in Paris, and one in Brazil, and one in Dubai. And you have my LinkedIn. And if you want to connect with me, if you have any question about SharePoint Embedded or any other requests, I will be free to answer your question. And also, when you check on community website, and I'm the #1 speaker worldwide. Last year, during the last 360 last year, I delivered more than 30 sessions during 27 events in person. So. Okay, and I want to share all the time a picture from my last event. This event, it was in New York last week at Microsoft office. It's about AI community events. And this event also, it was in Tunisia. It was last week also. It was 10 days ago. No, it was about the AI community conference. And this conference, it was in South Korea last year in October. As you can see, it's not generated by AI. It's at Microsoft Office. As you can see, my attendee has a nice view, and also for the speaker and for everyone during the event. And this session, it was in Nashville 2 months ago. So as you can see, we have 200 attendees in only one room, and it was organized in a stadium. And I was talking about how to get started to SharePoint Embedded. So the agenda for today I will talk. If you are talking about something new, it's that means we have needs on our organization, and I will show you the real use case. What are the challenge managing in our organization on managing application and data every day, every month, and later I will talk about what is it SharePoint Embedded. And what is it also SharePoint embedded container, and the cost, it's Microsoft product, there is a cost for it, and I will share with you what are the costs for SharePoint embedded. And later I will talk about the agent Copilot Studio, and I will share with you what do you need if you want to start work with SharePoint embedded Copilot agents with Copilot Studio. And I will at the end of the presentation, I will share you a real demo how to create container and how to create the SharePoint agent with Copilot Studio and use SharePoint embedded as a knowledge for it. So let's start with the company challenge managing application and data. So before I talk about, I will talk about the real use case with my customer. So today, if you want to share to store a file with your Microsoft 365 tenant, you have different options for it. You can store this file in SharePoint document library, and you create your site, and you can add it to SharePoint document library. And also for each user in the organization, each user has a personal OneDrive. You can add this file to your OneDrive, and you can share with other user. And now we have a different option. We can add this file to SharePoint embedded content. And this session, I will show you what is SharePoint embedded content. And all the time I'm talking, because I have many customers, all the time they say to me, SharePoint, it's free, so I'm storing file in SharePoint, but SharePoint is not free. And this is why I want to share with you, do you know how its storage is allocated for your tenant? for SharePoint site. For each tenant, we have a free 1 terabyte for free for each tenant, and you will have for each extra user under license, we will have 10 gigabyte per user. It's very important to know the cost for your file with your Microsoft 365 tenant. That means if you have a company with 200 users under license 3, you will have 3 terabyte for free storage. You will have 1 terabyte for the base storage and 2 terabyte for the licensed user. And it's very important, you will pay extra 20 cents per month for each gigabyte. It's very important to know about it. And now I will share with you a real use case with one customer in France. With this customer, we are working only with one tenant, and this tenant we have 300,000 users, and we are developing every month many applications for many business units across the country, and this application use SharePoint site as a main storage. And every month we are facing many issues, many problems to convince the business unit to pay for their storage, because every month we are exceeding the free storage, and it's very complicated to have a fixed amount for each project per business unit. And that's why we said we will work on SharePoint Embedded. So I have the container, and the container, we know how much it costs per this application associated to this container. And we have many business units, they want to have a search capability with natural language models. And this is why we think about to work with AI agents. We have AI agents for this container, and we don't need to develop many search capability for this business unit. They can ask agents to find their file with their query and everything. And also we have many business units, they're afraid about AI. They want to isolate their data. And as you can see, it's when you work with only one tenant and we have 300,000 users, it's very complicated. And this is why we decided to work on SharePoint Embedded and also on SharePoint Document Library, and to develop AI agent for each container, for each SharePoint Document Library. And the schema, it's like this. So we decided to have an agent. So we start with Copilot Studio because it's an easy way to create agent, and you can publish this agent in your Teams channel or other website. And we decide to have an agent for each container, and this way you can separate the data. The data it's already separated in the container, and also when you work at this container as a knowledge for your agent, the data stay all the time isolated for each business unit, and all business units are satisfied because they have the ability to search for their file with the language, natural language model. So also they, in terms of development, it minimizes the development for this feature and everything. And what is it, SharePoint Embedded? SharePoint Embedded, it's announced by Microsoft in November 2023. It was in public preview. And in May 2024, it's in general availability. And SharePoint Embedded allow you to create a SharePoint partition dedicated for your application inside your tenant. And this partition, we name this partition a container. And all the containers stayed inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. If you want to compare container with SharePoint site, SharePoint Document Library, SharePoint Document Library, you create this SharePoint Document Library inside SharePoint site, but the container, it's created inside your tenant. So it's not associated to SharePoint site. And we are talking only about files. We don't have, with SharePoint Embedded, you cannot create structure like, for example, SharePoint lists or Microsoft list, and all the access by Graph API. So we don't have UI like SharePoint site. We need to develop your UI. And also when you work with Power Apps, you can use Power Apps, Power Automate with Graph API. We can manage the file with your SharePoint Embedded container. So you don't need to develop if you don't need to develop your UI, you can use Power Apps with Power Automate and Graph API. And also all the containers are linked to a container type. A container type is the parent of each container. So the container type, it's like a collection of container, and all the content, it's available with the Microsoft 365 tenant. That means nothing changed in terms with your user experience. For example, when you have Office documents stored in SharePoint document library, you can open this file with the online. We can also open this file with the desktop application, and we have the same feature. So we have we have the feature of collaboration. Many users can work at the same file all the time. For it's like when you store the file in SharePoint embedded container, you have the feature like in SharePoint site, and also you can share this file. If, for example, your organization use sensitive label, and the sensitive label also are available for your content inside the SharePoint embedded container. So it stay inside your tenant. So nothing changed in terms of this feature compared to OneDrive and SharePoint site. And all the container and content are not part for your Microsoft 65 storage quota. That means you will pay for this content in different way as you go. In the first slide, I said for each tenant, we have a free storage, but for SharePoint embedded container, we will pay for this content in different way, except Microsoft application. When there are many Microsoft application, those applications use SharePoint embedded, like for example, Copilot Pages, and the Microsoft application consume your free storage. It's very important. And here, for example, when you are in SharePoint Admin Center, on the left navigation, when you connect your SharePoint Administration Center, you will have the container, and the container is SharePoint Embedded Container. Here I have many container. I have personal container I create, and here designer is by Microsoft. And you see, designer, we have the Microsoft Designer. It uses SharePoint Embedded to store the workspace and everything. And this Microsoft application consume your free storage. And also when I click on, when you check for each container, we have a sensitive label. You can apply sensitive label on the container and also for each file inside this container. And when I click on the container, for example, this container, we have different property. We have the storage and the time of the creation, the creation time, and also we can add membership. We can add owner manager for this container. So we have different property for each container for your SharePoint Admin Center. And now I want to talk in terms of architecture. Where everything is situated. As you know, Microsoft 365, the infrastructure of our Microsoft 365, it's Microsoft Cloud, the infrastructure as a service, Microsoft Cloud. And of the top of this layer, we have our platform as a service. In this platform as a service, we have the Microsoft 365 security and compliance by default by Microsoft, and your custom compliance from your organization. And of the top of this layer, we have SharePoint embedded container. That means all the Microsoft 365 security for your tenant are available. This security is available for your SharePoint embedded content. And off the top of it, we have the experience, and the experience is split on two parts. On the left, you have your custom application. You have the application you develop inside your organization, and also the application you purchase from ISV or other company. And why it's split it on two parts? Because for those applications, you will pay. You will pay as you go for the content. And on the right, we have the Microsoft application. And for those applications, Microsoft application, those applications consume your free storage. For example, Microsoft application use SharePoint embedded container. We have Microsoft Loop, Designer, and Edge Workspace. If you don't know Edge Workspace, when you log with your user account, organization account with Edge, we have on the top left of your browser, we have Workspace. When you create Workspace, this Workspace is stored inside the tenant with inside your organization tenant in SharePoint embedded container. And Edge Workspace, it's like a collection of tabs. For example, it's really powerful when you work with different projects with your organization. You can share many links for this project with the user who work on the same project, and it synchronizes with all your device. For example, when you log with one computer, if you want to log to use another computer, all your workspace stay available. And now I'll show you, before you know about SharePoint Embedded, we have different ways to store file in SharePoint Document Library and OneDrive. And now you have the option to store it in SharePoint Embedded container. And to access to this file, we can use the browser and Microsoft Office application for content in SharePoint Document Library and also in OneDrive. And we don't have direct access to the content in SharePoint Embedded container. So we will need to use Microsoft Graph API. And Microsoft Graph API could query with all the Microsoft Graph API, you can access to all the files you're tenant, and your SharePoint Embedded application will use Microsoft Graph API to manage the file in SharePoint Embedded content. So SharePoint Embedded application, it's Azure app registration. So for example, if you want to use Power Apps, you will Power Apps, Power Automate for your UI. Power Apps application, and behind the scene you will use Power Automate. Power Automate will use Graph API, and the Power Automate action and everything. You need to specify your app registration ID or your tenant ID to access to the SharePoint Embedded content. And if you want to develop your UI, you can develop your web application, and you can associate your app registration to manage file in SharePoint Embedded content. And what is this SharePoint Embedded container? It's, as I said, it's a partition inside your tenant as dedicated for your application. And for each container has an ID, and the ID it's like this all string. So the ID of SharePoint Embedded, it's like this. And for each application, you can it can create multiple container, and you can create for each application can create up to 100,000 container per tenant. That means, for example, when you purchase an application from ISV, the ISV is a developer for your application, but this application, it's used by many consumer tenants. For each consumer tenant for this application can create 100,000 container per tenant. And all the container are linked to container type. You cannot find the container inside your tenant, and it's not associated to container type. So a container, it's associated to container type. So we have your application associated to only one container type, and you can create multiple container for this application. And all the access, it's by Graph API, and all the content is fully, it's integrated with the Microsoft 365 experience. You will have the same feature for the file, like sharing, like preview, like sensitive label, and everything. So nothing changed in terms of user experience. And it's very important for each file associated added to your SharePoint Embedded container. You have an ID. So in addition to the title, description, and the attribute for this file, we have an ID. It's really powerful when you work with Power Automate and Power Apps to query your files. And each file storage container is linked to container type, as I said. And for each container, we can store more up to 25 terabytes. Imagine you have, for each application, you can create per tenant 100,000 container, and for each container we can store up to 25 terabytes. And anyway, you will pay for the content. So if as you store, you will pay. And here, for example, for each SharePoint Embedded container, we have a URL for it. And the format for this URL, it's like this. You have your tenant.sharepoint.com, and you have the content storage. If you have, for example, if you know Copilot pages, when you search something on Copilot, and you can edit this result in Copilot pages. If you want to share this result with other user, and you can check the link, it's content storage. Copilot pages use SharePoint Embedded. And why it's very important, this link? Because we'll use this for our agents as a knowledge. So we have our agent, we'll add this link to our agents to map the knowledge for our agents. So I will show you later how it's work. And to administrate SharePoint Embedded, we have different way. We have PowerShell on PowerShell, and also on SharePoint Admin Center and Microsoft Purview, and also with Microsoft Graph API. So, and Microsoft has introduced a new permission. It's called SharePoint Embedded Administrator. This permission allow you to split the role between the global administrator and the SharePoint embedded administrator. So, for example, here I'm logged with my SharePoint global administrator. As you can see, I have on the left all the navigation, all the permission to manage my SharePoint site and the container, in addition to my SharePoint site, the container. And here I'm connected with the SharePoint embedded new permission. So as you can see, this user and this admin, he can only administrate the content. So it's very important if you want to split the role with your organization. And the costs of SharePoint embedded. So we have two different of SharePoint embedded. You have the standard SharePoint embedded. You pay as you go. You can link it to your Azure subscription and the region and everything. And you have the trial container type. For each tenant, we can create a container type associated to your application, and we can create for free up 5 containers. And for each container, you can store up to 1 gigabyte. So if it's expired, you can delete it and create another. The purpose for Microsoft, it's allow you to test SharePoint embedded for free. And also you can use it to test the Copilot agents, the SharePoint embedded as a knowledge in Copilot agents. So for Copilot agents, for AI agent with Copilot Studio, it work with trial version and the version standard version. And the cost for SharePoint embedded, so you will pay for the per day for the storage per gigabyte, and the price we have this price, and also you will pay by Graph API permission. So for each call, you call your content to SharePoint embedded. For SharePoint embedded, you will pay for this call. And now the question, because I delivered this session many times, and the attendee asked me, why use SharePoint embedded and you will pay extra for the call? You will stay in SharePoint site, with SharePoint site. We are paying license, and we will not pay for the Graph API call. And here the question, so if you develop an application, you need to check. For example, when you develop an application, we need, for example, for my customer in France, we develop application to maintain a nuclear plant. We have projects for 30 years, for 20 years, for 10 years, like this. So the question, if you develop application and this application use file for storage and everything, if the user will access to this file 2 times, for example, per week, and the question here, why applying license when you use SharePoint document library? Why paying license every month for this user to access 2-3 times, for example, or 10 times per month for this content? So it will cost more expensive when you apply license every month. It's in this case, you can work with SharePoint embedded. And also, if you have other use case, the user need to access the file every day, so it's better to work with SharePoint document library. And also, if you don't need the security like purview, like sensitive label and everything, it's better for you to work with blob storage, Azure blob storage. It costs less expensive than SharePoint embedded and SharePoint document library. And if you calculate the price of per month for the storage, it's 20 cents. It's like the price when you exceed the free storage for your tenant. And now I'll talk about the AI agent. So AI agent and Copilot. Copilot is the UI. So it's Copilot is not the AI. It's a UI for it uses many models, but it's a UI. It's not the AI. And also and the agent. The agent are AI system designed to manage your particular process or complex process for your business needs. And we have different type of agents. We have the prompt and response agent, the task agents, and the autonomous agents. And with Copilot Studio, we will create this type of agent, agents like chatbot and virtual assistant. It helps user to find their document with the natural language model. And we have many other agents like autonomous agents that are many complex. And it's not with the in this presentation. I will show you how to create agent with Copilot Studio, but the first type is prompt agent. And Copilot agents, here the UI for your Copilot Studio. When you connect to your Copilot Studio, you have on the left the agent, left navigation. You click on the agent, you will have the view of your agent. And here for the agent, here I have one agent because I present the session in Boston about healthcare. And for each agent, when you click on the agent, you have in this navigation, you have knowledge. And in this knowledge, we can specify SharePoint document library or OneDrive, or also we have the possibility to specify SharePoint embedded content. So you will allow for your agent to search as official source for your for the knowledge for this content. And this why with my customer, we develop agents for each project for each business unit. And Copilot Studio, it's a low-code platform to create your agent and other stuff, and also it's allow you to manage your agent. And it's very important. This is the UI for your Copilot Studio, and you have many different license for your Copilot Studio. You have the license. You have 3 types of license. You have the pay as you go. You will pay for each message, for each prompt, for each question or each message per each user. You will pay for it, and we have also message pack at $200 per tenant per month, and you will have up to 25,000 message. Or if you have the Copilot Studio, if you have the Microsoft 365 Copilot, it costs $30 per user per month. You will have also access to Copilot Studio and Agents. So for my case, my customer, he's paying for all the user the license for Microsoft 365 Microsoft 365 Copilot. And here I will show you, if you want to start with SharePoint Embedded, to develop SharePoint Embedded, you can use Visual Code. You can install the SharePoint Embedded extension. You will find it on the store. And once installed, you can create your, for example, in this case, create a trial container type. And once created, we can export all the environment setting. For example, if you want to use it with the tool Postman to test your query before you integrate this query in your application. And here, what are the file? In this file, you will find your tenant ID, your application ID, the secret, and the abbreviation. You have, I think, 9 lines for environment variable, and you can use it with your Postman. And where to find all the query, you need to use it with SharePoint Embedded. With this link, ik.ms spe Postman, you will find all the Graph API call. Use it for SharePoint Embedded queries, SharePoint Embedded files and container and everything. And here, for example, on the left, I will show you on demo how it's work also. And here, for example, if you want to list all the list container, you can use the graph.microsoft storage, file storage container. And to create the container with PowerShell, we have two query. For example, with PowerShell, we can create the container type. It's trial container type. You specify the container type name and the app registration ID. And also for the standard container type, you pay for it. You specify in addition for the other attribute for trial container type, you specify the Azure subscription ID and the resource group and the region of your resource group. And here I will show you in this demo how to create an agent and how to associate SharePoint embedded container and SharePoint document library as a knowledge. Here I have some screenshot, and I will show you later how it's work. Here in Copilot Studio, we will create a new agent, and once created, here I create my agents, and once created, we'll add the knowledge here, and the knowledge is the link to SharePoint embedded content. And as you can see, I have the content storage here. And once added, you will have the link, name. You can change the name and description for it. And once created, you can publish and you can use it as you want in Teams or other website. So, and the demo, I will show you in this demo. Okay, and now for example, here, for SharePoint embedded for Edge workspace. I'll show Edge workspace here on my navigation. I have many workspace, and this workspace use SharePoint Embedded as the main storage in your tenant. And here, for example, I will show you before I'll show you Copilot Studio. I will show you on my SharePoint Admin Center. I have here many containers. So on the left navigation, I have Designer by Microsoft, and here I have many containers that I created. And this container, I add many files. What I generate, I ask Copilot to generate many files to test my agent. Here I have AI Boston 3, 2, 1, and everything. And I will show you also in Postman. Postman, here I have my Postman. For example, if I want to list all the container for associate to one container type, I will execute this query. And as you can see here, I have my container. For example, here AI Boston 3. If I check here, I have this container. So, and for each container, we need this link to use it with our AI agent. So I will copy this link. And also in Postman, for example, if you want to create a container, as you can see for here, we specify the 3 attributes, your container type ID. As I said, you have your app registration ID, and you have your container type ID, and you can create multiple container for it. And you use Graph API. Here, if you want to create another container, you can create it. And also, for example, if you want to upload one files, you search for files, and here you will find, for example, I will say yes, I will upload. I need to upload the file in my tenant, and here the file we can specify. I will add document file. For example, here I will specify the file extension. To hit. Okay, I will use this one. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay, this one. I'll just. And here we can, with Postman, you can use this one with your application also, or Power Automate. For example, I will create one SharePoint template. I will create one document file. Document Microsoft. Okay, I will test this one. Okay, I'll take the name. Okay, I will take this file here, and here I will name it. Here I want to add this file to my SharePoint embedded container. And once added, so as you can see here, we have the ID for this file, as I said in the first slide. And here for each file, we have a web URL for it. If I take this file, I will search here. I'll open this file. And here I have this file. It's open. I open one file inside SharePoint embedded container. And for my agent, I will say search. I will map my agent, my SharePoint embedded container as a knowledge for my agent. So now let's create one agent. Here I will go to my Copilot Studio. And here in Copilot Studio, I have many agents. I create many agents. And here I will go to the agent, and here I will add new agent. So here I will create an agent. Okay. Now we can just evaluate. Okay, now I will rename my agent. I will SPE Cloud Summit. Okay, save. And for each agent, we have the knowledge. And here I will say to my agent, use many source for to search for the data of the file. And here you can use public website, you can use Salesforce and everything with connector. And here we have SharePoint. So in SharePoint we have also you can add SharePoint embedded container and SharePoint website. For example, here I will go to here. I'll search my link of container. Okay, I'll search for my website. Okay, I will use this website. Okay. In this website, I have a SharePoint document library. It's CI Boston, and in SharePoint document library, I put many files. And here I can use this link, and here I will paste it here. So I said I will add. Here, as I can say, I add SharePoint document library as a knowledge for my container, and also I will add SharePoint embedded container. For this knowledge, I will go to active container. So I will link it to, for example, AI Boston here, and I will take this link. And here I will add it here. Here there is, since 2 weeks ago, there is something changed with the Copilot Studio. It's a bug by Microsoft. Here, when you add it here, you will have this error message. So Microsoft work on it. But here I will show you, we can add, I will leave it this one. I will add knowledge. I will see suggestion. And here I have the suggestion for my container. And for example, if I want to add here, as you can see, it's SharePoint embedded container start.csv. So I will add it here, and this one I will add. It's added, and I will add this one. I didn't rename it. I will add this. So here I will add for container. Okay, and now if I check here in my knowledge for my AI agent, I have for container, and I will add the SharePoint also on document library. I will add also SharePoint document library. Add. Okay. So now I'm using for this agent, it use many SharePoint embedded container and one SharePoint document library. And also we can, once created, we can publish it. And here I will publish my agent. Okay, for example, for this agent, I will use it in Teams. And how you do it, you can select channel, Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot. And here add to channel, you will have a link for it, and you can add it. And I will show you, you can also see agent in Teams. I will open online my Teams. Here I will add it. Okay, now my agent is in Teams. Yeah, for example, I want to test it. So I will test it also in Copilot Studio, and I will test it also in Teams. For example, if you want to test it in your Copilot Studio, here in overview in your agent, here on the right, you can test your agent. For example, here I will ask my agent, find me all the file with Boston, for example. So here I'm searching the file in different knowledge. As you can see, he find the agent, find the file in. Okay, I have one question, I think. Okay.
Hey, Jamel, nice to see you again.
Okay.
And I have a question here. If the security concern, the data will become from the everywhere, right? So how you will manage?
If you have the permission to access this file, you will find the file. So.
Okay, if we don't have permission, then we will not find, correct?
No, correct, yes. Correct.
But but I get to know that the agent is capturing the all data, whatever on the particular site. But if you are
No,
saying that,
yes.
yeah, okay, so it's based on the permission, right? If
Yes,
user
better
doesn't
permission.
have it, and also for the confidential level, if I label the document as a private, that will be fine here. Like if I define the category, okay, classification for the particular document, that some document many user have access, okay, like 100 user have access, and I define that document as a private confidential, okay, that document will be searched here.
Yes, it will search. If you find the document with Copilot also, you will find it so also.
Yeah,
But,
that was my question. How we
it's a
can block
Copilot.
that one? Yeah, that
You
is.
can test it with Copilot. So I didn't test with private files, but we have permission to access to this file. You'll find it with the Copilot, and also with the agent also.
Yeah, that is a big thread. I am telling just because of that I raised the concern. Okay, thanks, Jamel.
If you have also purview, you can add many conditions also with purview. So purview also, I think you can manage this, but we need a license for purview. So, and under purview, it's work like SharePoint site. So if you need to block files, if you need to limit access to files with sensitive label like private everything, you can do it with purview. It's under SharePoint also. SharePoint embedded, same thing. So for this file.
Okay. So I think from the purview we can define the classification. That file should be not such. Yeah. That is right. Correct.
It's
correct
work
answer.
like SharePoint, but you don't have under preview SharePoint embedded link. You have SharePoint site. It's under SharePoint site. We'll use the link like this, for example, for this container. You will say for this container it's not work, or with the private sensitive label don't show the file. So,
Okay.
You can achieve this. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. And
thanks,
here, okay, thanks. You're welcome. And here, as you can see, I search with my agent the file. I said, find me all the file with the name with Boston. And here, the source control. Here I have the file. You find the file in my container type, in my SharePoint embedded container. And when you check the reference here, for example, I have this the link. If you check on the left, on the left button of the page, we have content storage. So this file is content storage. And the same thing if I want to test this file in my channel. Where is it? My team. Okay, I have my team here. I have my chat. All right. And as I said, we need to develop something. Why we need to develop many complex applications, many search capability for our business unit? We said, yes, we'll use agent for this data, and they with the sample natural language model, they can find their files. So, and we need also, because we already pay license for Copilot for those users. So it's work also. And here also I will search, I will say, find me all the files with Boston. So because I didn't prepare another demo because it was my demo last week.
Okay, so I have one more question. If I want to disable that part, I don't want to be exposed to the every user. So we can disable this agent search.
And why you want to disable so?
Yeah, because I told you, because there was many private document that is not defined the classifiable label. Okay. So any user can come very easily. He can find the confidential document, confidential data. Either he have access, but he doesn't know he can access. But by this, he can go there and he can read the document very properly and extract the things. So most like wherever I am providing consultancy, I am disabling this option due to this thread.
Okay, we can do like this. As do you see this schema? So the best option for you is to store this file in specific SharePoint embedded container. And why you need to mix your file with other files?
So that what so Jamal, that's the same question here. Okay. So let's see. If you are embedded, okay, if you are enabling, okay, that the again the same question come.
Okay.
If document is not classified as a private, it's not mentioned in the it's not blocked by the purview, the document will be float everywhere. Wherever people will be searched by the agent, they will get it.
Okay,
and
if you want to
easily,
do yes, okay.
yeah.
So
So,
I
yeah, go
will,
ahead.
okay. And we have in SharePoint Embedded, we have an option to
Yeah.
to say for this SharePoint Embedded container, we don't need the result shown by a Copilot,
Mm,
Copilot and agent. So, and this attribute, and you
mm,
check, I will go to my Visual Code. We have something, it's called discovery. Here, for example, if my SharePoint, you can do it also on PowerShell.
okay.
Here, for example, for my, it's not for the container, it's for the container type, and you can specify it for container type. We say here, if the property here, the property, wait just 1 second. Here, discovery. I think on container we have discovery. You can switch here container type. There is a property discovery. Discovery.
Mm,
You can say true or false. Here,
mhm.
do you see this property? For your
Okay.
container type, you can say disable discoverability. That means even if you have the right, you have the access to this file, when you search with
Mm-hmm.
Copilot with agent, the result will not show. So it's like when you create your container, it's stay isolated. So
Okay.
only your app can access to it. So you develop your UI, you
Mm,
specify the rules to access this file. So you can do it. So
okay.
it's discoverability. You can say it, you can disable it, you can put it true or false. I
Okay.
think
That-
it helps you for your context. So for you, for
Yeah, right.
example, we have for this one,
Yeah.
and this why we are working with SharePoint embedded container. As my experience, I work with many customer. What they are doing, for example, they develop many Power Apps application and they store the file in SharePoint site, and
Yeah.
they forget to specify the permission. They specify the rule to access to this file with Power Apps, but they
Mm,
forget to specify the permission in SharePoint site. So
correct.
this why you work on SharePoint embedded. We have the container inside your tenant. No one can access to it without the link, and we need also your SharePoint, the application ID, the secret, and everything to configure with your application. It's more secure. And in your case, it's better to disable discoverability and check with add rules with purview. Purview, for example, if
Yeah.
you said if someone want to access with this link, or for example in purview, if you want to keep this file, also if someone delete a file, you can keep this file also for 7 years or something like this. So we can combine this with SharePoint embedded discoverability. You can disable it false and with purview also.
Nice.
Yeah. And here I will return to my chat. And as you can see, I said yes, find me all the file with Boston. So, and here I will I generate many files. So I will ask also Boston. What is TI? TI because I asked Copilot to generate 100 files to talk about TI. And here it will search inside the document. Yeah. Okay. And here the knowledge. So you don't have no. Okay. I will also, for example, find me all the files talk about Boston. So I have this file. So as you can see, so if you want to isolate your data with add the knowledge for your with agent, we have the possibility also to add it with SharePoint embedded container. Here I will return to my agent, and you have many other options with agent. We can add action and everything. So for this session, I want to show you what is it SharePoint embedded
Yeah.
and how to add knowledge for it. And here also, if you have any question, because I will go to my slides.
Yeah, that's it. You can go ahead.
Okay, it's okay. Thanks. And here the conclusion. So since Microsoft developed many applications this application use SharePoint embedded storage like Copilot Pages, like Designer, like Edge Workspace. And there are many other applications coming with also using SharePoint embedded container. So you can also develop your application. We can use it. And also, if you want to keep your file secure and isolated, also it's very important. I know many government they use SharePoint embedded also to for example, when you apply for the visa, also they store for each country the copy for the passport for each country inside SharePoint embedded container. And also agents are powerful tools. So if you have license with your customer, they pay already license for Copilot Studio of Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can use agent, and you don't need to develop complex development to search for the file with your development. So you can use agent as we did with this customer. And if you want the resource, everything on Microsoft Learn. You can find everything on Learn, and also you can find with this link all the SharePoint embedded Graph API call. And also I have many other sessions also how to work with the Power Platform, how to use Power Apps, Power Automate to manage file in SharePoint embedded, and also with and how to get started. So I have many topics about SharePoint embedded. I want to share all, but I don't have time. I have only 1 hour to share everything, but I want during this session, I wanted you to know that is SharePoint embedded, something new, and you can use it as a container to store your file and use it as a knowledge for your AI agent. And thanks again for our sponsor. As I said, you can check their website, you can talk to them. It's a community event, and thanks a lot for them to sponsor this event. And thank you. If you have any question, I'm here to answer them. We have time.